Woke up today, smile on my face, may not go my way, still got my face.
So here we are, guys.
Here
We got Nevaeh Wyper in the house. Super excited. Nevaeh is a friend of ours. Met her through another mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
She's helped us at some of our events. She is an entrepreneur. She has Vmari Coffee.
Yes, I do.
Which is really cool. And so we're super excited to just bring you a perspective from her point of view. You are, let's see,
21 years old. Yes.
21 on the dot. And, you've got a lot going on in the sense of an entrepreneurial mind, which I think is really cool, which is why we've always kind of tried to support you. And plus, you're a great person, and so that always helps as well. But super excited to be able to share just some of the things that you're working on, some of your perspective, because I know there's a lot of young entrepreneurs out there. It's certainly a buzzword.
And I started not knowing much, so it was a learning experience for me too. So
yeah, well, and I think that there'll be a lot of people that can learn from you. And the cool thing about Nevaeh is I think she's got some good wisdom as well. So there's some people that maybe are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that can learn something from her as well. So welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here. So.
Yeah, for sure. So background, right? Just for our viewers, I gave the real fast version, but met through a mutual friend. You'd been over to the house quite a bit.
Yeah.
Helped us at the events, and the events are at our house.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned just being around there. Like you've been to the Winter Circle events. You've been around our building here at Wentworth Real Estate Group a lot.
The Winter Circle event was an incredible opportunity for me. I think that grew me a lot just in the ways of realizing how important connections are. Connections in business and in personal life really are everything. And I think just being around successful people, like even just having a relationship with you and your family has inspired and encouraged me a lot, just to keep chasing my dreams, because I had a lot of doubt in the beginning stages of entrepreneurship and business, and even just choosing not to go to school and chase my dreams straight out of high school was something
she
that
went to school. She's talking college.
That a lot of people very much showed me their doubts that they had in that, and it was a really hard thing for me to get through. So just seeing, hearing your story and hearing all the people at the mastermind really kind of inspired me that I'm capable to do it, rather than holding me back. So
have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich?
I have not.
Put that on your list.
Okay.
I'm actually reading it right now.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it was a separate book from the one that Robert Kiyosaki has, which I don't remember what it's called, but I always related the two as the same, and they're not. And so just talk a little bit. The book is dynamite, by the way. The little bit that I've read the first chapter, the last chapter, and the last chapter blew me away. So now I'm going to read the rest.
Yeah, I'll have to read it.
But it really is all about mindset.
Really
that's
is.
something that I'm always talking about, mindset. And you talk about doubt. So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Yeah. Because, doubt creeps in, especially in the entrepreneurial world. I'm going to have to drink water for that word again. Because I think personally for me, it's I'm casting a vision on shit that people don't even think is possible.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so I don't know that it's so much that they doubt themselves or they doubt the vision that you have. But at the end of the day, what happens when you hear that doubt?
I think it's very similar in different areas of my life. I've dealt with doubt, when it comes to sharing my faith, when it comes to business, when it comes to, just personal things. And starting with business, for example, I was telling you last time we talked that for a long time in my business, I was really afraid to put myself out there. I'd put my product out there, have a great product, and I would want people to buy that. But people aren't buying specifically for a product. There's a million good products out there. People want to buy from you, from a person, from someone they trust. And that's something that really held back my business for a long time. And when I realized that I don't have to get the approval of everybody else. And when I realized that fear doesn't need to hold me back, that's when I realized I don't need to be afraid of that, and it's the same thing with sharing my faith. For example, I grew up in a Christian household. I was always a Christian. I was always a believer in Jesus. But for the longest time, I really struggled with sharing my faith because I was scared that I wouldn't have the answers. What if someone asked me something and I don't know? Yeah. And I was really putting the pressure on myself. If I was having a conversation, that goes back to business as well. If I was having a conversation with someone, I expected myself to have to know everything. I had to be completely ready for every situation ever.
If you talk to anybody that knows me, I'm like, shit, I don't know anything about any of that. I know where I'm going.
Exactly.
I might not know how I'm going to get there yet.
And that's where I am at this point. But, you know, a few years back and even a few months back, I would really let that fear of, like, what if I'm not ready hold me back from a lot of really great opportunities. And it wasn't until I let that go, like, it's not all about me. I don't know everything, and if I don't know, let's learn together.
Nobody
type of
knows
thing.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not expected to know everything. And just like in our faith, we're not expected to have all the answers. We're not expected to be perfect. We're called to be on a journey to shine God's light. And so, but one thing I never really thought in knowing you as long as I have was that perspective that you just gave me. And it makes me emotional because, you know, it wasn't so much about business, just the fear that you had of sharing your faith. I've never had that fear. And I think the reason is because I never came to my faith until I was freaking 45. Yeah. So at that point, you know, it's totally different. So to be, you know, 19, well, all the way through, obviously, but when you start getting into business, so how old were you when you made the transition into, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and now I have to think about business, and I have to think about how I'm sharing my faith, which is your
through
authentic,
my business as well.
Right. And that's your authentic self.
I was
you're in this
18.
battle.
Yeah, I was 18 when I launched my business, and I was also 18 when I really kind of, I think, made my faith my own and stopped holding myself back.
Your own?
Well, I grew up in a Christian household, and I always went to these youth conferences, and those grew me so much, and those are what really made me kind of, rather than just having my parents' faith, I had my own faith. And I was pursuing my relationship with Jesus personally.
Your parents used to take you to church. Now you choose to go.
Rather than just checking off boxes, I wanted to pursue Jesus, and I wanted to be a disciple and make disciples.
That's awesome.
And my goal is to bring that into my business and into my everyday life. You know, I don't want to be one person here and one person there.
Yeah.
So if my identity is, you know, I'm a follower of Jesus, I want to bring that into my business. I want to bring that into every encounter I have with people.
Yeah.
So.
And, you know, here's the really cool thing is, like, from my perspective and my wisdom on that, because as we've grown this business, I mean, you've been here. We pray before a meeting. You know, we're very, we're not shoving it down anybody's throat. We just are who we are. And if we're the right blend for whoever joins, great. And if we're not, that's fine too. But I've literally, you know, as we've grown, people have said, well, you know, you're going to have to not put Christmas on a billboard anymore. You're going to have to stop talking about Jesus so much. And I'm like, why? Right?
Yeah.
Initially,
like, that's who I am. That's what I do. You know?
But I didn't even think that at first. I was like, well, why?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're going into different markets now, and you know, da 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 da. I'm like, I'm not changing for anyone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think a great thing for you to understand is, like, all you are called to be is yourself.
Yeah.
And if you try to be everything to, and same with your brand, if you try to be everything to everyone, you end up no one to no one.
Right.
And your brand ends up nobody to anybody because it doesn't have an identity. So I just think that it's awesome that you're feeling that and you want to pursue that. And the truth is, I actually think that's what strengthens the brand even more.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Back when I was afraid to put myself into my brand, I mean, I think I told you this, I would literally crop my face out of my Vmari Coffee videos, which is, like, embarrassing to say now, because now I am my brand, you know?
Yeah.
People, especially with the coffee world, like, I do online orders and subscriptions. My buyer, yes, they have to trust that this is a good brand, good quality coffee. They don't know what my coffee tastes like before they order it online. Right. They're not buying because hopefully this coffee will be better than every other coffee I've ever tried in the world, you know?
Yeah.
But they're buying because they trust the brand, they trust the person behind the brand, and really
that goes back to,
the
like,
feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
And that goes back to resourcing and all of those other things that you kind of shared with me the other day that I had no idea, which the other one I wrote down I want to make sure I asked is, like, how in the hell, and this is a little off track, but how in the hell can dark coffee have less caffeine than light coffee? I mean,
that one blew your mind a little bit.
Like, I would go to Starbucks and tell them, give me the, I don't even know.
The dark roast?
The dark roast. It was like Kama Sutra or some crap. I don't know. No, not Kama Sutra. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm getting more coffee. Yeah. Or more caffeine.
Yeah. No, during the roasting process, it actually roasts out that caffeine. So the light roast is going to give you the most caffeine there.
Did you know this? I'm so blown away when you told me that. I'm like, what? No. So it's like nearsighted, farsighted.
Yeah.
If you're nearsighted, you can't see far away. All right. So just so everybody got that, tell them again, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. I hope I'm not the only one.
Are you talking about the dark roast? Yes. A light roast has the most caffeine because it's roasted, you know.
The least.
You're not roasting the caffeine out of it. Yeah.
Crazy. I quit. I mean, I'm still blown away by this. So 18, you started your journey as an entrepreneur. What did that really mean at that time? I mean, does that mean that's when you launched Vmari? That's when you kind of came up with that concept?
I launched it at my open house, my graduation open house.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I had my Vmari Coffee pop-up at my open house, which at the time, actually, I don't know if you know this, it was called Afterglow Coffee Co.
What was it?
Afterglow Coffee Co. is what Vmari.
Co.
Yeah. So Vmari completely rebranded. So when I launched Afterglow, I had, everything ready. I put all of my graduation money into this business. It was like, I'm not going to school. This is all I can do. I'm putting my everything, my all into this. And, we got our LLC. We were ready to go. I was open for 3 weeks before I got a message of Afterglow Coffee Cooperation in Virginia was sending me a cease and desist and needed me to close down. So I put all of my graduation money, I put quite literally everything I had as a little 18-year-old into this business to have it closed down in 3 weeks. And that was something that that destroyed me.
Devastated you?
Oh, that was devastating. I was like,
But at the same time, the close down must have just been like, okay, we'll do something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
I did.
Thank God it wasn't 3 years into it.
Exactly. And it really did end up being the biggest blessing for my business. Yeah. I closed down, and it took me a few months to, rebrand. I had to work with a new artist I got to work with a new artist. Yeah, she was amazing. Yeah.
I love the perspective shift she just made, right? I had to, and then went to, I got to.
Oh yeah. That's been a side note. That's been a huge shift in my life. Yeah. Just saying I get to rather than I have to.
I'm telling you, the words people use, like when we're in the gym, I love being in the gym with people because I hear what they say, right? And just today, burpees. I'm like, bro, you're going to hate whatever you decide to hate, but you're going to be here and do them anyway. So why not just embrace it? And every time you use these negative words towards these things, one, you bring more life to it. Yeah. Right. And then two, it's like, you're going to do it anyway. What the, why? So that perspective shift, I think, is so important for everybody.
It completely changes your day-to-day life, and it's changed mine.
Speak positivity in everything that you do.
Yeah. So that was something that really devastated me for a minute, but ended up being the biggest blessing for me personally and for my business. I got to relaunch January of 2023 as Vmari Coffee, and I almost got to take those few weeks of being open as Afterglow as it was a huge lesson. I got to learn what works, what doesn't. What I like, what I don't like, and I got to relaunch as, I think, a brand that was truly mine and truly me. I mean, Vmari means Vmari. It is my name, so.
So tell them that again. Slow it down for them. So it's Nevaeh.
Yeah, so
Marie.
My nickname all through growing up and still to today is Veah. So I really just took Veah and Marie and put them together, and that's Vmari. Yeah. So the fact that I was afraid to put myself behind my brand is kind of shocking, saying that.
Well, or maybe you just weren't
brand,
thinking that far ahead, right? I mean, sometimes like we come up with something and then later, it changes. Yeah. It changes in the perspective. But you're right. That's such a good lesson. And I think often I feel like in our business, all of these things as they occur that seem initially like I almost look for them to happen because I know on the other side of what feels like, a tough spot or something difficult you're going to go through, I always feel like every time that happens, what comes out of it is way greater. Yeah. Every time a door closes, another one opens. Amen. And that's, like God will open doors. And sometimes to do that, you have to close old doors.
Yeah. And that can be hard, but it's one of the most freeing things that you can really do.
Yes. Yeah. So Vmari's launched after essentially you're shut down.
Yeah.
But the Afterglow sounded like a Care Bear. So I think it's good that
It was a huge blessing.
I'm like, was there a Care Bear named Afterglow? I think there was. Christian, Google that. Google that shit. And so now you're 18, you're onto Vmari, and what does that look like? Well, like, what do you begin to do? You talked about doubt earlier. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and trust me, 50-year-old entrepreneurs that have doubt, right? And it is what it is. So how do you deal with that? How do you also block the naysayers? Because most of it, from what I've found in my journey, is most of it comes from people closest to us. Yeah. Right? And so how do you deal with that?
Yeah. And something I had to realize is people that don't have visions and dreams as big as you do aren't going to see your big visions and dreams. Yeah. And I really just had to realize that. I knew for a long time that I wanted to have something that, I was passionate about and, that I got to, kind of take control of. I wanted to do something that I truly loved. I didn't want to get stuck in something that I was just okay with. Yeah. I wanted something that I was able to scale and, really follow all of my dreams with. So I knew it was what I wanted to do. I never doubted that. What I doubted is my ability to make it happen, because I started from scratch, Right. I'm 18 years old. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So along the way, growing my social media, my brand identity, getting the word out there was really hard. And that's something that takes a long time. It's not going to be, you find those overnight sensations, but even overnight sensations work for years before they're overnight sensations.
Yeah, for sure.
So those first few months and really first few years of growing my brand was really exciting, but also really discouraging in the way that I dream very, very big, and I want to reach those dreams and goals fast.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, I believe this, right? Like, I've even talked about this when I've spoke before, is like entrepreneur, and this, it's almost like a buzzword, and then because of it, and it's so flavorful on social media, and then what we see is everybody getting rich quick, or everybody getting successful quickly, and most of it is not even real. And so you're judging yourself against something that isn't accurate or isn't real, and for the most part shit isn't even real for the most part. But, and I was looking that's still tough.
I was looking at all of these brands and these companies that have been running for 10, 15, 20 years, or were launched by internet celebrities. I'm like, how do I compare myself to this? How do I get to that point? But I don't need to compare myself to it. I'm not them, so I don't need to try to be them. So that was something that I really had to learn myself, because that doubt of, will I ever get to that point, is what stopped me a lot. And then also the doubt of, what are people going to think? Like, I was 18, I didn't have a huge following, and I was posting as a business owner. I was scared people were going to think I was a fake, what is she doing? What's she doing this time? I have a bunch of dreams. I have a bunch of goals. That's something that I've always been a little stubborn in, is proving people right, or proving people wrong, proving myself right.
Well, we talked about this the other day, like having that chip on your shoulder.
Which can be a good thing, but also can be destructive as well.
Most people, it becomes a bad thing because they're an ego, though, right? So the chip is on their shoulder because they're an ego, and because they're an ego, they go do a bunch of dumb stuff that they can't afford, that puts them in a difficult position. We talked yesterday about using the chip on your shoulder as the driving force. Right,
yes. Which is what I've really learned to do. I had to kind of grasp that and reel that in a little bit. Because for the longest time, I was just like, if I'm not going to be successful right away, I'm just going to let it on the back. I'm going to put it on the back burner. I'm going to, I do social media management as well. So I kind of created that to be my main job. And Vmari was always a big passion, big dream, like in me. It never went away.
It was brewing in the background.
It was brewing in the background. But it was in the background. And I put it in the background because I almost didn't believe that I could do it. And I believed if I really tried and gave it everything, that I would get judged.
This piece right here, I think, is so powerful, and I was actually thinking it before you just said that, because I see a lot in our business and I think that there's a couple of dualities here, is that people always have more to give. But then there's also the people that have more to give, but they won't even like, if 10 is all in, they're at a 5, and they won't even go to 8, because if they don't, like, if I go to 8, or even if I go to 10 and I give it my all and then I fail, well, then I failed. But if I just skate through and only give a 5,
then it wasn't that big of a deal.
Well, it wasn't really what I wanted anyway, and and I make all the excuses for why I didn't go all in. But here's the truth: if you go freaking all in, you'll win anyway.
No, that's really where I was for a long time. I was scared to give it my all, because if I gave it my all and failed, then I didn't know what to do next. And I think I just needed to keep that determination and know what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. That's something that's kept me going a lot, is the purpose behind.
So talk about the purpose, because you're right. I mean, that's so important.
So obviously in business, this is probably in any sort of business, but in the coffee business, there's a million people opening coffee shops every day. The reason why is what keeps you going. The reason why is what keeps your business flourishing. So I started it because, one, I wanted I wanted that freedom. I wanted to be able to create something that I was passionate about, and I wanted to be able to spread joy and positivity through my product. It was more than just, selling a good quality
And so what is your vision for that, right? Because I've seen some of the pictures you've shown me of other places, but when people hear, how do you spread joy through coffee? So it's the experience that they would have, right? So tell us a little bit about the vision of that.
Yeah, it's really creating the vision, creating the experience, creating the community. People are seeking community all the time. They just don't know where to find it. Long-term goals for Vmari is I want to create community is the biggest thing. and a positive community, not a community where they feel like they're not welcome. You know, I want to create a space where people can come together and enjoy themselves and enjoy a good cup of coffee together, rather than just, you know, walk in, walk out, that busy, rushed life.
Right.
With Vmari, even from the beginning, I never knew if I was going to open a location, like a physical location. That was always, I think one was a little doubt.
Well, it takes resources to do that too, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like we talked about, like, you know, you've got to work, you've got to put in the due time, you've got to put in the effort, and then doors begin to open, you know?
But even just with my online sales, so I do the subscription-based coffee, so it'll come to your door every month. I wanted to create something that people could be excited about. Yeah. You know, almost like a gift where they could...
Did I ever tell you my cousin has a subscription thing? It's called Bird Box.
Oh, really?
Did you know that, Christian? Yeah, it's Bird Box. So literally it's like the same thing. Yeah. It's just for people that have birds.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, if you have birds, boy.
Yeah, I used to have birds.
See, there you go.
So,
well, birdbox.com.
There we go. Perfect. Good to know. Yeah, so I just wanted to create something that people could be excited about, something quality that was also reasonable. I know the craft coffee world can get a little crazy. People don't know.
Why is that? Why?
You get into those, you know, the elevation, the flavor notes, all this stuff. People are like, I don't know what that means.
They're like turning the shit into wine.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know. Just give me something that tastes good. So I'm kind of like the middle ground between that. Okay. And I also wanted to create something that, more than just in the coffee world and in the business world, would leave them feeling good about themselves. We always are incredibly focused on, you know, the positivity side of things, seeing the good. I love to like motivate people through our social media posts, through our events. Just, you never know, even the smallest things, giving someone a smile, giving someone a compliment, these simple things can completely change someone's day.
I think more than motivation, you know, at your age and what you're doing, you're inspiring other people as well, right? And I think that's really important, is that people have people that they can look at. They always say comparison is the thief of joy. I don't believe that. To me, if I see somebody that's doing something, then I know that I can do it.
You need to use comparison as motivation.
As motivation. And then the ultimate thing is, you know, motivation is fleeting, right? Comes and goes. I can fire you up and you're like, yeah. And then by the time you get home, you're like, oh yeah, what's on TV?
Yeah.
You know, and so that the next thing though is aspiration. Like, what are you, who are you aspiring to be? Yeah. And I think that's kind of where you're at right now, is like, I'm trying to move all of these things together, bring all these things together. And what am I aspiring for Vmari? I think you already know what you're aspiring to be for yourself. Yeah. But how do you blend, and then how do you blend those two right down the road? Yeah.
I think motivation is the start. It's kind of like the fire behind your butt to get you going. And then, like you said, the aspiration, why am I doing this? That's going to keep you going when, you know, because you're not always going to be at a high. It's going to be highs and lows. When you're at those lows, that aspiration is going to keep you going.
In the world of entrepreneurial, I mean, you're going to be in a dogfight every day. Yeah. You know,
and then the dedication when those lows come is what's going to, you know, keep you going, really.
For sure.
So you have the motivation, you have the aspiration, then that dedication keeping you going through the times that you're not sure what's going on. And that kind of, you know, that's why I'm here today. So
for sure. No, I love it. So tell us a little bit. I've got a little cheat sheet here, because there was a couple of things from what we talked the other day I really wanted to get out, is like, why coffee though in the very beginning?
Yeah. So through high school,
even though you named it incorrectly, just why coffee?
All through high school, I was doing social media and content creation for a coffee company. I think that was through sophomore to senior year before I started Vmari. I was doing all the videos, all the content for another coffee company, and I really loved it. And I was posting them on, you know, their account and then on my personal account.
Now, are you drinking coffee at 10th grade?
I was, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So. It was always something I loved. And it was something that I really loved to do. And, you know, getting older, going through high school, I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing after this, you know? And through doing those social media posts, and I started posting them on my personal account, and those started getting some traction. I was like, oh, like, this is something that I could see myself doing. Like, and I was already getting into the social media marketing and management world as well. So
still through Home Zone?
No, actually.
Somewhere different.
Nope. I started off, and I'm still doing hers today, my cousin's hair salon. So I do hair salon, social media management. So I was fresh into that, and then I was, you know, doing social media for this coffee company, and I was loving it. I was having so much fun, and I was like, this is something I could see myself doing. because I was in the back of my mind already trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? So I sat down with my parents one day, maybe junior year, maybe senior year, one of the two. And we were just talking about, okay, like what's your next steps? What are you going to do? And the idea of coffee came up, a coffee company. And I was like, I really like that. Like, how do we make that happen? And we had some connections with my now roasters who are in Grand Blanc. They're amazing. Through marketing.
Okay.
And so we got on a phone call with them and we're like, what's this all about? How do we get into it? And it went from there. So that's really what got me into the coffee world. And the more you learn, the more you love it. So
yeah. Well, and I think, a blessing for you, obviously, and to back up, she keeps talking about school, but you were homeschooled.
I was homeschooled,
right?
yes.
And so the blessing, and I think that's worth talking about too. But you have an amazing family.
Yeah.
I mean, you really do. Like, you've great parents.
Yeah.
Your brother's a boy, so he's probably not so great right now at age, what is he, 16? Yeah, there you go.
16-year-old brother.
But I mean, you do. You have, your
really
parents are wonderful. And so I see that your dad helping you build the thing.
For
I
sure.
see your mom helping you decorate. Tell us about that.
Yeah. The family that, my parents supporting me was definitely a huge help and motivation through it all. Because my he's an entrepreneur. My mom has always been an entrepreneur. I grew up kind of in that family with that mindset, I didn't really know anything else. That's what they were, and that's what I was going to be. But they have really, really encouraged me to grow into like the person that I am today and then keep growing past that. I can bring my problems to them. If I don't know something, even if they don't know something, we're going to figure it out together. And that's been something it's very inspiring. And that's what I want to be for other people as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think, we being that your parents were entrepreneurs so often, and I think maybe it's shifting a little bit, but so often the parents are driving college. And I mean, I don't want to say there's anything that it's right, wrong, or indifferent. No. It's just that it's not for everyone, right? I mean, even school, right? So right now, Rocco's like, I want to homeschool. Yeah. We're like, no, go to school. So talk to us about homeschool, and should Rocco homeschool? No, I'm just playing. Don't answer that one.
I loved my experience in homeschool. I definitely think there's, good and bad ways you can do it. I had an amazing community. I'm still friends with all of my friends from high school.
So what does that mean? Because you told me about this before too, where you're like, oh yeah, I was on the team. I'm like, what
I
team?
played volleyball throughout high school. So I played through Chase, which is a Christian homeschool organization.
Okay.
And you probably think homeschool sports and you're like, what is that? It's legit, And
so is it like they take it from a whole county then, or what do they do to get
it? So it was based in Grand Blanc, Flint area, which is where most of us come from.
Okay.
But volleyball, basketball.
Us homeschoolers.
Us homeschools, that type. But yeah, it was, a really, really great community of people, parents and students, it was just super awesome. I got to, go through all my proms and homecomings and all of that stuff.
I didn't even know any of that existed. I didn't know you could play sports. I didn't know you could go to dances.
Such a cool, part of my life. I wouldn't be who I am now without it and without that, support of, believers surrounding me, just because it can be hard being in an environment where you have a different perspective than everyone else. So
let's go into there's a water there for you too if you want it. Let's go into the faith a little bit. Right, we're on the homeschooling, obviously Christian schooling, and well, it's not maybe that I've dealt with it, I just didn't even matter to me. It was like water off my back, right? But for you, because even now you just reiterated that again, right? Like dealing with or that different perspective from your faith and those things. So how has that, what were some of the things you dealt with, I guess, right? And how did that impact you?
Like by that, you mean growing up in my faith? Like being surrounded by people?
Well, that, and then having to take who you thought you were in this homeschool environment, and then now you're
bringing it into the real world.
And then now you're out in the real world. Yeah.
Well, I never felt necessarily over sheltered through homeschool, which is, something that
I think that's a lot. That's a big perspective that people think is like, oh, you're just in your house, you never leave home.
The amount of times I get, oh, you don't act homeschooled. I was like, what does that mean? Like, I think I'm normal. But I never felt, over sheltered. I still got to experience life, and it's not like I was only friends with the homeschool Christians. I got,
right.
I had real world experience still. But coming out of it, I think it really gave me, my identity in Christ. Like, I didn't have to pretend, and I didn't have to like fake around it. So I didn't have to worry about, being one person here and being one person here.
Right.
I can be with a group of believers, and I can be with a group of non-believers, and my foundation's firm.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to shift to be someone who I'm not, because I'm rooted in who I am, and I'm rooted in God. So
love it.
I think that gave me my foundation for sure.
And then because you're so strong in that, there's just no wavering.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I can, I think a misconception is that don't be around unbelievers. Don't.
Well, how are you going to change them? How
Jesus,
are you going to impact
Jesus
them if you're not around
sat
them?
with the sinners,
you gotta be with them.
And I think there's something so cool about, being that light to people who maybe have never experienced Jesus. Even I'm a youth leader now, and being able to like talk to students even who are curious or they don't know much, or I've had the coolest conversations with youth students, and it's so inspiring to me, and it makes even like the hard times worth it, because it's like, this is why I do what I do.
I love that. What about, as you continue to grow this brand, like for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we've continued to grow, and you talk about bringing people to Jesus, like it's not what we like. I'm not shoving it down people's throats, but also I do want to. I think the way the environment is here, it's like it's very open. We're going to pray. We're going to do these things, and if somebody chooses to be led to Jesus, great. If somebody doesn't, that's fine too. But we just baptized Abdul. Abdul just got baptized at our home.
Awesome.
You probably saw it on social, I'm sure. And then as soon as we posted that, somebody else in the building that I never would have expected post, I want to be next.
Wow. You never know the impact you have on people.
Correct.
Someone could be watching you from across the room from, scrolling on social media. You don't even know that they're watching you. But people are always watching you.
I get that all
and
the
that's
time.
why, I want to be so firm in who I am that it doesn't waver and change.
Well, I think that goes back to why you being the brand is so important.
Oh, for sure.
Because coffee isn't going to bring someone to Christ.
No.
Right? Nevaeh may.
And not even me. It's, it's
sure,
God working through me. But
right, but it's just it's opening that door of conversation and people seeing, well, man, she seems so nice. She's so happy. I want that.
Yeah.
Right? And what's the difference there? And that's, I think, goes back to our faith and we become unshakable in that.
Yeah. It absolutely goes back to, putting myself behind the brand too, though. Like kind of like what I was saying before is people don't buy necessarily just for the product. They buy for...
You can get coffee anywhere.
They buy for the community. They buy for the feeling. They buy for the trust that they have in that person who's selling it. And that's really what I saw when I let go of that I don't want to fail mentality and just put myself out there, whether I was scared or not, because you're never going to feel completely prepared and completely ready.
No.
If you wait until you're completely ready, you're never going to do anything.
No, yeah.
So you just have to do it even when you don't feel prepared, if you don't feel, like you're in the right place at the right time. Sometimes you just have to take that leap and do it anyways, because you'll realize it's usually not as scary as you think. And when I did that is when I saw huge growth, not only in my business, but in my personal life too. Because when you let go of a fear, it's like something that like releases off of you. And you're like, oh, I can do scary things. I can do things that
like you carry that
held
weight
me back.
And you finally let it go, and then you're free.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. And like personal life and in business, it grew so much in 2 months. In the 2 months that I went from almost like a stock imagey type marketing to,
here I am.
This is me and this is what I have for you.
Love it or hate it.
Love it or hate it. This is what it is. I mean, I think I showed you my analytics, my growth just from 2 months of being myself behind the brand was incredible.
Yeah. And so you said earlier too, you talked about, people see it, they may not comment, because I'm always having this conversation with people inside of marketing, like being on social media isn't about how many likes you get. It's not about how many comments you get. It's about sharing a message that serves, leads, inspires others, whatever that may be in whatever industry you are. But so many times I have people reach out to me that I mean, I don't even know if I told Christian this. I was on the phone the other day with a guy that I had to call for one of our agents. He's a broker, and I don't know the dude.
Yeah.
I say, hey, what's going on, Bill? Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, what's going on, Johnny? I'm like, Johnny? And he tells me what he's doing, and he says, oh yeah, these two guys pulled up, but they're not like Christian. They haven't been working out every day of the week. These guys, I mean, I'm like, how does he know Christian?
Yeah.
Well, because people watch you on social media, even though they may not comment.
Yeah.
And I say that because, if you're trying to get yourself out there, if you're trying to market, if you're trying to grow your brand, whether the brand's your coffee, whether it's you, whatever you're in, don't feel like because you're not getting a million comments that it's not being seen.
For sure.
And that people aren't enjoying watching it, because I get it. I mean, almost every day where people will say, I love following you. I was at the darn horse sale. Christian was there, and a gal came up to me. This is why, right? A gal came up to me and she said, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, sure. And we go to the side and she's almost in tears and put me in tears. And she's like, I just want to thank you so much and you inspired me so much that I'm running the New York City Marathon. I'm like,
wow.
Huh?
Okay.
Right. And so that's happening so often.
Yeah.
And you
don't even realize it. You miss it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too, is that you can't be doing it just to hear that.
Right.
Because if I didn't go to that horse sale, I never would have heard that.
You never would have known that and never would have realized your impact on her life.
Correct. Yeah. And so you have to be doing it out of the goodness of your heart, I think, really what it goes back to.
Yeah, it has to be genuine. Well. I want to run a business that I can market just by being myself.
Yes.
Not that I have to put a face on, put a front on
Yes.
Gotta sell Vmari now.
Yes,
I want it to be something so natural to who I am, where, just like you said, I can put it out there, and if I don't think anyone sees it, if one person sees it, it's the best I have to offer, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah. So what's next?
For Vmari, I have lots of big dreams, lots of big goals for it. I'd love to have a location. And I've talked to you a few times about kind of my vision for that location.
Yeah. It's dynamite.
I'm super excited about it. I think it's something that isn't quite expected. It isn't quite normalized. And I just really want to create a community and a space for people to come together and gather and really be able to have that community in a place that's not a bar. Because I know you're sober. I know a lot of people, young people even, just for health reasons are, not drinking. They're cutting off alcohol. And I want to create a space where people can come together and, have that community without it being in a bar scene. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned this and we didn't go too much in it, but it's like I'm almost 2 years sober. And for me, I think we've gone out to dinner like 3 times in that time because there's no reason to go anymore. Honestly, it's crazy to think it, but that's essentially why you go out to eat, because you're going to have some drinks. Yeah. And so having things besides coffee, because obviously I don't want to. And what's interestingly enough is we were just in Kentucky last week for a horse race, and I had a decaf. I enjoy the coffee. People enjoy it. It really is I enjoy a cup of coffee, even if it's 8:00 at night, which is terrible. have a decaf, If you got to get up at 5, it's terrible. But if you get to sleep till noon, it's okay. Yeah, and I mean, majority of coffee shops close at 2 or 3 or sometimes 4. But I want to create a space where people can have that space at any time of the day. Yeah. So that's a big goal of mine. Well, and I think that goes back to what else can you provide, right? Yeah. At your spot besides coffee. Yeah. And you were talking about spritzers and things along these non-alcoholic drinks. Yeah. I want to have it's a new word. Maybe I'll use that. I want to have a wide variety of things for people. Yeah. And more than just I'm going to come here, have a cup of coffee. Come have a cup of coffee, like you said, the spritzers, whether that's, a small plate, charcuterie, stuff like that. But also events. I think bring people together. I think they give people, like I said earlier, connections are everything. They give people that option the ability to have connections, because people don't know where to get them. And I want to, create that opportunity for people. So lots of big dreams, big goals for Vmari in the future. To really just grow on that community aspect of it. Let's talk about the connections piece, because it's the second time you've said that now. And I think what's really interesting is 5 hours ago, I posted opportunities come from relationships. So build as many relationships as you can,
but then pour into them as opposed to expecting something
100%.
from them.
100%, yes.
And this is where I think people, again, like they don't understand how the world works. Like your intent is essentially the delivery mechanism to whether you're going to get good or not. And so when ironically enough, she comes and sets up for the Winter Circle event that we had at our home. And a guy from Kentucky comes to the event.
This is so cool.
And what does he own?
Coffee company.
Right. So it's just,
yeah.
And what a cool guy he was too.
He was awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not just so I can benefit off of these people.
No.
I want to surround myself with people who are better than me in all areas of life. You know, I don't want to be, the top dog in every room that I walk in. I want to be able to learn from people. That way I can use what I learn and inspire other people, and also, like you said, not just take. No, I want to be able to,
contribution is the way. So I'm going to, as I said, at my Let's House, right, which I'm super grateful for. And it's only myself and 11 other people. So
which is amazing.
Very intimate. And one of the questions in those, 5 million questions that I got to fill out was, what do you want? What is the thing that you expect most to get out of this? And it was to contribute to others. Yeah. Like that's all I'm focused on when I go there.
And that has to be your heart. Because if you're doing something to get something in return, you're not doing it for the reasons.
You're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. And that's in relationships, that's in connections, that's in business, that's in literally everything you do. You can't do it for yourself. Usually getting something is not as valuable as seeing yourself giving to somebody
else.
Yeah.
No,
being able to help people is the best part about.
People always say give to get, and it's like, no, just give to give.
Give to give.
And
and that's like enough. Yeah,
100%. But the truth is too, when you give to give and you meet the right people, doors do open.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, and just like Leo Fonte, our man from Kentucky. I mean, that was just a really. So Nevaeh, we did some bartering. I said, hey, I'm having this event. You can attend the event and then you'll do your coffee. We'll swap for the ticket because the ticket was like $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that. And then lo and behold, she meets Leo. She has a mentor. And so it's just very cool how that all worked out. But again, that's like, it wasn't what can I get out of it. It's what can I give to it.
Yeah. And similar to, that situation where some people would look at, oh, I'm doing an event for free. I didn't look at it as I'm doing an event for free.
Right.
That's a great opportunity for me. That's a room that I want to be in, and that's worth it alone,
100%.
So it's not always chasing a bunch of money,
right?
Because the money can come later. It's
what
gets you there.
Can freaking go too.
Yeah, right.
For most people, it goes.
For sure.
So long-term vision for the brand. I mean, besides, obviously, and just again to give people a little bit more insight. So we have we're here in our Fenton headquarters, right? Fenton, Michigan. We have a Brighton office that is right downtown. But downtown Brighton is lots of walking traffic. And so we kind of came up with a concept that she was going to set up, do some coffee stuff there. And they have events all the time in Brighton. So the last one, I mean,
it was amazing. It was so much fun. It was such a cool experience. Yeah, I want to keep that going for sure.
Line out the
Lines
door.
out the door.
So this girl got no space. But this is really cool though.
Amazing,
you guys built that beautiful. I don't know, what do you call it?
Yeah, so I have
I
have a pop-up setup. So it's collapsible. It fits in the Jeep. I can take it, pop it up, which is where I do my private events. I do my weddings. Events such as the Gilmore Girls one in Brighton.
Yeah.
So I can kind of take my setup, my business anywhere and offer it to other people. But I do that, and I want to do more with the Brighton community because it was such a cool experience.
Yeah, so she crushed it down there, her and her team. I mean, we had a constant line the entire because somebody sent me a picture like 9:30 in the morning, and the line was out the door.
Yeah, we opened at 9:30.
I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was so.
Because I was at our client appreciation event, so I wasn't able to come down there. But I share that because so that's kind of one of these event pop-ups where somebody could hire you to do that. And as you said, you're doing weddings, graduations, parties, whatever it is. And I know the vision is to get a space someday, but what's the 10-year vision? Like, what does Vmari look like in 10 years?
Yeah. So obviously I want to continue to scale it, whatever that looks like. I want a location. I want to be able to host the events. And I want to be able to create that community. More than just the location though, I want the online presence to be a community as well. I want people to recognize Vmari and not just say, oh, that's good coffee, but that's something that I want to follow. That's something that I want to be a part of. And that's really what I'm focusing on growing and creating right now, is something that people want to be a part of rather than just want to buy from.
Why does that mean a lot to you?
Because that's the reason I do what I do. Like, obviously, I love my coffee. Unbiased opinion, it's really good.
So tell us about the roasting, though, a little bit, because you mentioned that to me the other day, and you say you love your coffee, and it is very good. And last time, I think that I had way too much. And
you had way too much.
I was in heart
I was
palpitations.
a little concerned.
That was at the Winter Circle event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like.
I was like, John, how much coffee have you had? I think you'd had like 2 Alanis and like 3 coffees or something.
I just kept getting in line.
And then you got an espresso shot, and I was like, what are we doing here?
She's trying to kill me, y'all. So tell us about the roast process and how the fact that, it's important to you that it's local and you understand. Because again, for the layman, coffee's coffee. And I do appreciate better coffee than not so good coffee, right? Like Leo's coffee was good. I ran that stuff through our machine and it was great. But what does the roasting process look like? Why is it important that it's local, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah,
so I work with, like I said earlier, the local roasters in Grand Blanc. We source our coffee from, responsibly sourced farms that don't spray and don't use all of these chemicals that they really do affect the day-to-day life of someone who's consuming it way more than you would even understand and think. So we work with farms who are, trustworthy and quality. It comes over to our roasting facility in Grand Blanc. They roast it day of shipment. So if you get an order, the day it's shipped out is the day that it's roasted, and it goes out and you're getting fresh coffee. And I think that's really important.
And you said there's a
like a roasted date.
Yeah, because I was surprised too that I feel like the already ground coffee versus the beans, the ground coffee lasts longer. Is that what you said yesterday?
So like typically when you're roasting coffee, a coffee bean, you're gonna want it. You want it fresh, which is why we have our roasted by date at the bottom.
Right.
And you don't want to be drinking 4-month-old coffee beans. But yeah, so that's why everything's roasted immediately and sent out right away.
What's the best coffee that you've ever had besides Vmari? I know Vmari's number one, but what's the second best coffee?
I've tried so much coffee.
You have to think so. And you travel a lot, right, with your family. Yeah. So
I got the opportunity when I was traveling in Hawaii, and I got to.
Was it Kona coffee?
Not quite.
The big kahuna?
I got to go to one of their coffee farms.
Oh wow.
And I got to try coffee directly from their coffee farm, which was so cool. It was like very unexpected.
Yeah.
It was just like we were at the house and we're like, "Hey, who wants to go?" And we're like, "Go where?" And he was like, "Just come on." We ended up at the coffee farm, and I mean, the group that I was with didn't know. At that point I had just met them. I met up in Hawaii with a bunch of strangers, and
they're just drinking coffee.
Yeah, they didn't know how like intriguing this was to me.
World.
Yeah, and I got to go to this coffee farm and try their coffee, and that was a super cool experience. It was amazing. You could tell, they put their heart and soul into it. But there is so much good quality coffee, and I just love like learning more about the coffee world and where it's roasted and how it's roasted. And so I don't even know if I can pick, my favorite coffee I've ever had, but.
Well, I think what you just said, though, is the experience that you had there made that coffee stand out.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you want to create at Vmari.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing here, right? Like I always say, and I repeat these things to the agents and to our staff and to our team as a whole. And it's like, if we're going to sell over 1,000 homes this year. If we didn't exist, those same 1,000 homes are selling.
Yeah. But
so it's not the
why
homes.
Go through Wentworth?
Right.
It's not because you sell the best homes in the world.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, you do. Okay, hear me out. It's not just because of the home that you sell.
Correct.
It's because you care about the person that you are selling to.
Correct.
And that's with any business, and that's with Wentworth, that's with Vmari. We care about the customer, and we want not only to get from them, but we want to give to them more than just the product, but that positive experience.
Well, and I think too that goes back to Vmari as a brand, right? It's not just the coffee. There's the intent behind the experience that somebody's going to have. Same with us, the intent behind the experience.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, and you probably aren't there yet, but these are the things that will begin to it will evolve and they will expose themselves over time. So like now we have, No Shave November. We're raising, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've donate it back into the community. And those things will come along in due time
absolutely.
for you. And usually they come out of, unfortunately, No Shade November, that came out of us having a member that had cancer and he passed. And that was obviously a tough time. And then something great came out of it as well. You know?
And good things can come out of difficult situations. It's just really back into that perspective of
how you want to see it.
How you want to see it. Bad things, it's evident. It's going to happen. You can't really erase that part of life, but you can take those situations and use them for good.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Give us some advice for a young entrepreneur, and young not just in age, but in business, right? You're just getting started. What is some advice? What are maybe some mistakes that you could avoid, right? Yeah. If you heed this advice.
Yeah. Big thing for me that I had to take and had to learn is that you're never going to feel ready. You have to, if you have a passion and a desire, like this is what I want to do, you have to do it. You're never going to feel completely prepared. And jumping into it, like I said, you'll usually realize it's not as scary as you really expected. We tend to get in our heads and say, oh, this is way bigger than me, but you're capable. You're capable if you work hard enough at it, and it's going to take hard work.
Yeah. And you nothing's going to have mistakes.
Nothing's going to come immediately. When I first started, my pop-ups, for example, my setup was what I had. I didn't have a huge budget behind it, and
cardboard box.
Right. But that's something that I can look back at, and even though it wasn't where I wanted to be, I can be proud of it because I still got myself out there and I still did it. And if I didn't do it then I wouldn't be where I am today. Yeah. So I think just going out and doing it. Yeah. Going out and doing it, don't let that fear hold you back, because it'll pay off eventually.
Yeah. Well, it's just like anything else, right? Like whether it's being on social media or doing your pop-up, like when you look back on it 10 years later, of course it's going to look different. But if you didn't get started, 10 years from now, you're still sitting here wondering about what you're going to do. Coffee obviously was a passion of yours. I think sometimes there's a lot of people out there that they just don't know what they want to do. Or they have a lot of pressure externally, usually from parents, about what they should do, but they don't want to do it. So how do kids deal with that today?
Well, I think everyone has a God-given passion, a God-given thing that they're gifted in. We're not put in this earth created for nothing. We're all created for something. Like we're created on purpose for a purpose, and it's really our mission is to find that, and what do we do with that? So finding what you're passionate about, what do you really love, and that could be something small, that could be something big. And that can
also change.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. So find what you're passionate about, and then what can you do that, and how can you use that gift or that passion or that desire that you have to make an impact? Yeah. Keeping the focus on the people around you rather than yourself is going to be a big motivation. But find what you truly love. Find at church, my pastor, his biggest thing is passion, pain, and proficiency. And it's those 3 circles. And what's in the middle of that, that's what you were made to do. Ooh, so that's good. So find your passion, find that pain, find the proficiency. And then in that center is, your purpose. And I think finding your purpose and sticking with that, that's your solid foundation for everything that you do.
And your purpose may not be the product, right? The product could change.
Yeah, for sure.
The purpose should stay the same. It's funny. I think about we talk about our passions and talk about being passionate about what we're doing, right? Because you could have multiple passions, but what one can you really throw yourself into and go all in on? Because that is the key, I think, in business. So you got to be willing to burn the boats. You got to be willing to go all in. If you have a backup plan, it's going to slow you down. You're not going to win. Or you're not going to win as quickly. And not that you need to do it quick, but obviously you need to income and et cetera, et cetera. But I see so many people, like, they just hold on to all these other things as the backup plan, and then they've never put 100% into what they're trying to do. So how do you make that shift? How do you go from, okay, I'm going all in? What's that sound like? I think that's what I was doing for a long time. I wanted to be all in, but what if it didn't work? And you just can't let that what if hold you back. Yeah. God has a plan for you. And if one door closes, another one's going to open. And if you have that fire to try something, to start something, I think you just need to be smart about it. Yeah. Do your studies, do your research, but jump right in and learn as you go. Surround yourself with people who are going to grow you, people who are going to encourage you. Yes. Because the people you're around, if they're constantly, doubting your goals, your dreams,
You're going to get those people, but you can't surround yourself with people who don't believe in you. You have to surround yourself with people who believe in you.
I'm jumping in. I'm writing a book. Okay. So I'm going to jump in and pull this up because this week is all about the people you spend time with, your circle, how important that is. So I'm going to pull up today's reading. I created this book. It's kind of like the Jesus Calling book, right? So it's got a reading, and then I added a Bible verse just like the Jesus Calling, but then also I put in like this started out, Dahlia is 15, right? My daughter Dahlia, who you know, but they don't. And I'm seeing that she's starting to go through these different things that are going to happen in high school, which I already know, and Rocco too. And so I started I want to write a similar to the Jesus Calling, but write it for teens. Yeah. And then I'm going to write it for girls first, because that's the least I know about. But it wasn't about whether it was a girl or a boy in the sense of the book. The book is like, what do I believe are the most important things, like the lessons that I've learned that if I knew them when I was friggin' 15 or 13 or 12 or 11 or 10, right? Like you've got to, one of last week's chapter was all about always finding the silver lining. So no matter what is happening, we kind of talked about that, right? Like there is a silver lining behind everything that happens. This week is about who you spend your time with, how important that is. And so I'll just read today's because it's today, October 16th. I believe so. Cool. Here we go. This is closer than you think. The people you spend the most time with don't just shape your habits, they shape your heart. Their words, attitudes, and choices influence the way you see yourself and the decisions you make. That's why God warns us to choose carefully who we walk closest with. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about protecting your heart so you can keep growing into the person God called you to be. Yeah. The verse is, do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. That's Proverbs 22. And then the action step is, think about your closest friends. Write down one quality in them that you admire and want to see more in yourself. That's great. Yeah, you have to surround yourself with people who are going to grow you. And that's not to say you have to cut out all the people who aren't going to grow you. But in that, growing process in yourself, you need to have that circle of people who will show you the way when you don't know it. And then when you have that firm, solid foundation, then at that point you can go and be that light, be that challenge to other people around you. Yeah. And sometimes you do have to close people totally out. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right? You love everyone, but you can love people from a distance. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I have to assume, right? Like even for me, that happened when I quit drinking. Like when I quit drinking, I knew there was a line in the sand that there were people that I spent time with that I was probably never going to spend time with again. Yeah. And I had to be okay with that. And I was, clearly, right? Yeah. And if you're not okay with that, you'll never grow. Exactly. And so I wondered, I'm 53, you're 21, right? So very, very different ages, I know, but what is the word
Stages
I'm looking
for?
Stages of life. Well, I don't know. For you being 21 and for 19, 18, 17, because I assume we'll get a wide range of viewers on this, which is kind of cool, right? Yeah, because two different perspectives. Being 53, I know who I am. Yeah. I don't means nothing to me if somebody goes out of my life. Yeah. Right. Now, part of that comes from my abandonment of my mom. So I've been able to, I could do that with, but I don't want to do it with the people that I love. I only understand that I need to sometimes do it to protect myself. At your age or in your age range, I think that it's like, well, we want to be friends with everyone, Yeah. I think that's definitely something that I've had to learn. I think I've grown a lot in that area. Even in the past year, I think I've been more rooted in who I am, and there's going to be people who stay in my life forever, and there's going to be people who don't. And that doesn't mean that I have to, be spiteful of all these relationships that I lost. I can, cherish the times that I had with people without, letting it weigh me down and hold me back from my future. Yeah. So I think that's just something that, and so if 17, 18-year-old Nevaeh knew, she would have been a lot better off. Well, and so then how do you convey that to 17, 18, 15, 14-year-olds? Yeah. There's some people in your life that, maybe they're just there for a season. Maybe they're in your life because, you were making wrong decisions. You were going down the wrong path. And you're going to find good in these relationships that aren't good for you. You're going to find,
maybe once they're gone, you'll be going back and saying, oh, well, this was good. I missed this,
Right.
you know? And that can really like keep you stuck in your old ways, in your past, in your like that past self, and really stop you from growing and moving forward. But you can't let that be the case. You can cherish and love a time and period that you had in your life, and know that you outgrew it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's time for the next step, because like we were saying, we've said it several times, when a door closes, another one opens. And those people that are going to encourage you, they will come into your life. If you're running on one path and another person's running on one path, you're going to run into each other.
Yeah.
So those friendships, those people that you had in your life that were holding you back, that weren't good for you, just because they're gone doesn't mean that you're alone forever. You know,
Amen.
you're gonna find, like you said, the silver lining. There's gonna be those people in your life that will push you and grow you towards, you know, your purpose and what your calling is, you know.
I told y'all we were going to get some wisdom today. That's really good. That's really important, you know, and I just thank you for sharing that, because I know a lot of people deal with, you know, and when I'm watching, you know, Christian's here, he's 26, just got married. So I've seen that whole growth. Now I see Rocco, now I see Dahlia. Yeah. But it's not always like when they're 15, 16, I think often we're like, oh, we're thinking about dating. No, we're just talking about their friends that they have. No, and sometimes those friends aren't forever. Yeah.
It's friend groups. I mean, if I had the same friend group that I had when I was 15, 16, I have some of the same core friends.
Sure.
I've had friends in my life that, you know,
you'll have forever.
I'll have those forever. Yeah. But there's some people in my life that as a young teenager, I never saw myself losing, you know, and now I look back and said, if I was still in that friend group, if I was still surrounded by those people, I wouldn't be who I am today. Yeah. You know, because the people around you...
It'd still be Care Bear Coffee.
It'd still be Care Bear Coffee. The people around you really do influence you and impact you. Even if you're a leader in that group, you can be a leader in a situation, but it can still hold you back.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually, as you're saying that, I just kind of saw something, because earlier we were talking about aspirations. Who do you want to be? Mm-hmm. And then in this reading, it says, yesterday's reading said, because in that action step, it's always looking at something, right? And this one's looking at your friends. Do they draw you closer or further away from Jesus? Yeah. Well, gosh, now I have like a roadmap. I'm aspiring to be a Christian. I'm aspiring to be a good person. I'm aspiring to be loving and caring and kind and spread God's light. Yeah. And then I can look at who I'm spending my time with. Are they getting me closer to that or pulling me further away from that? Yeah.
And that's where it's a weird balance, because as followers of Christ, we're called to reach those people. Yeah. So it's that finding that balance of where you are in your walk and where, like, how close you can keep those people without them impacting your personal life.
Well, and for us to reach them, though, it's not always about, hey, Nevaeh, let me tell you about Jesus.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's about living, and living is not the word I'm looking for. It's like, who am I on a day-to-day basis every single day, whether someone's watching or not. And so it's modeling the behavior.
When you follow Jesus, the fruits come with that. Yeah. And people are going to see that, and they won't know what it is, you know, because someone who's never opened the Bible, they come in contact with someone who is, you know, living their life fully committed to Jesus. They're going to say, what's different? Because the fruits aren't natural, you know. Right. You don't naturally want to have patience and love and kindness for people, but when you like spend that deep rooted time with God, you learn to like adapt that, and people want more of that. And that's where, you know, the open doors for conversations can happen. But you don't want to jump into someone who has like a bunch of church hurt and pain and, you know, hey, so Jesus loves you, because they don't believe it. Right. And you have to, you know, show that in your actions and in the way that you live your life day to day, rather than just say it and then go out about your day and get mad at the person who, you know, made your coffee wrong, you know.
Well, I mean, and you see a lot of that, right? Yeah. People that are unkind, whether to the server, to the person at the coffee shop. Yeah. So I always kind of laugh when people have road rage. I'm like, man, it's like the last thing that ever crosses my mind is to flip somebody off. Or I don't even honk my horn. Like, I don't care. You cut me off. We didn't crash.
It is cool. What it is. Go about your day.
I care less about it.
Yeah.
Favorite Christian artist?
Music artist?
Yep.
I really love SEU Worship. They're one of my favorites right now.
How do I not know this? I mean, I don't know what SEU...
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, they're a worship band. I really love them. Any of the Elevation bands are pretty good. And then there's, you know, you have those kind of independent artists who kind of sound more like day-to-day, like,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
regular
give
music.
me a name.
Chris Renzema's amazing.
Who is this?
Do you know who, like, Noah Khan is?
No.
No, okay. He kind of has that sound to him. I really love him, so. I really love that, like, folk style. So if that's not what you like, you probably wouldn't know him.
Pull up some of the stuff. So mine are Brandon Lake, Lauren Daigle.
Love Brandon Lake.
Yeah, he's awesome. Lauren Daigle is honestly, like, when I go back like 5-6 years, I feel like her music really. I would be in the gym working out, listening to Lauren Daigle just crying, right?
Yeah.
I Will Rescue You, like all of these things. Where
Rescue
I'm
is such a powerful song.
And I actually got to ask her a question about that song. It gives me freaking goosebumps. We went to the concert, took my wife, the kids, and I mean, this was 6 years ago, and we went to the VIP. And so they said, well, we're going to pick 3 people to ask Lauren a question. So I'm like,
me, yeah.
Yeah. And ironically enough, I was able to ask a question. Then a family like 3 rows behind me asked a question, and their daughter's name was Dahlia as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wild.
Yeah.
But I asked her, where did that song come from? And it was interesting because she kind of paused, and you could tell it had depth to it, right? And so it was actually a story about a friend of hers who, and she didn't say this, but the way she framed it, she walked in on her using drugs, right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at you so I can smile and not cry. And so then she told the story behind why that song came. And I was like, so I would listen to that music, because as I'm drinking, and you know me, I'm not like wasn't some crazy madman, but I just had this internal struggle with it. Is what really came down to. It's like I just wanted to be done with that weight that I was carrying from it, and a lot of her music I think really helped. It's not what got me sober, but it kept me focused on thinking about
kept your focus
getting sober, right? And then I didn't, but now I have. So it's all good. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good stuff.
That was great. That was very good. I wish you all the best. Obviously,
Thank you.
Anything we can do to help you out, let us know.
I appreciate it.
You are looking for someone to do pop-ups, events, weddings.
I'm your girl.
She's the girl. She's got a great team. And anything that they should know that you specialize in, like if you're going to show up at an event, you've got it all.
Yeah, we can do specialized menus. We've done several weddings where we'll have a bride and a groom drink. We can personalize it to you in your event. Full specialty coffee bar. So anything you can think of, we can offer. We can do matchas. We can do really, really all of it. So
if you want it,
if you want it, we can do it.
She's got it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nevaeh. God bless you.
Thank you.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay.